Hi, welcome to I Am Trans News. I'm your hostess as always, Novana Beta, and today we're going to be talking about the actual number of trans people who have been killed this year. I was so shocked, but I shouldn't have been shocked because in previous years, the number that we got was not the real number, okay, of how many trans people who actually were killed. So currently, the number of trans people who have been killed was 45, right? But this article says that there's actually 375 trans people who have been killed this year. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play this 5-minute video. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. And without further ado, here we go.
Harbor Freight is hiring. Our distribution center in Joliet has positions that need to be filled.
Not an ad. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and let that ad go through. And, yeah, so that is ridiculous. I did not even know that so many trans people actually were killed this year. When I saw this, I just, like, my heart was immediately like, whoa. But here we go.
375 transgender people murdered in 2021, deadliest year since records began. By Jamie Wareham. 375 transgender people were killed this year, 2021. A figure that has risen since last year's total of 350. The report authors say this makes 2021 the deadliest year of violence against gender-diverse people since records began. 1 in 4 of those murdered were killed in their own home. The annual global list is released for Transgender Day of Remembrance, TDR, held on November 20th each year. The majority of the murders happened in Central and South America, 70%. But like last few years, the most deaths in a single country occurred in Brazil, totaling 33% of global deaths. Cases from Greece, Kazakhstan, and Malawi were reported for the first time too. The report notes that the numbers indicate a worrying trend when it comes to the intersections of misogyny, racism, xenophobia, and hate towards sex workers. It found that most victims were Black and migrant trans women of color and trans sex workers. 9 in 10, 96%, of those murdered globally were trans women or trans feminine people. Over half, 58%, of those murdered were sex workers, and 4 in 10 were European migrants, 43%. The report's release follows several years of human rights organizations worldwide recording yearly rises in violence against transgender people. But a further humbling and critical part of these figures' context is that the death total is likely only to be the tip of the iceberg. Many hate crimes and murders go unreported or, crucially, misreported in the media, meaning the actual number of deaths could be far higher. These numbers are just a small glimpse of the reality on the ground, says the report authors. The majority of the data was collected from countries with an established network of trans and LGBTIQ organizations that conduct the monitoring. In most countries, data is not systematically collected. Most cases continue to go unreported and, when reported, receive very little attention. The list is compiled by Transrespect vs. Transphobia Worldwide, TVT, a TGEU project, by sourcing local and national news stories covering the deaths and murders. The violence, horror, and murders are cataloged by TVT, which has a complete list of all those killed this year. The report is released annually to mark Transgender Day of Remembrance. The global list is part of an annual report released to mark the International Trans Day of Remembrance, held annually on November 20th, compiled by Transrespect vs. Transphobia Worldwide. Since 2008, the Trans Murder Monitoring Report has been recording homicides that happen every year between October 1st and September 30th. Since the project began 13 years ago, they have recorded 4,039 deaths. The number of fatalities has risen from 2019's 331 and 2020's 350 to 375 in 2021. Although we must view the data in the context of being the tip of the iceberg, the report authors note the alarming upwards trend throughout their data from 2008 to 2020. Behind the statistical representation of numbers and percentages, there are people whose lives we value and who we, as societies, fail to protect, report authors say. Meanwhile, a global recession in trans rights continues, with countries from Hungary, Poland and even the UK seeing rising transphobia, anti-LGBTQ policies and rhetoric. In the UK, transphobic hate crime reports have quadrupled over the last 6 years. When is Transgender Day of Remembrance 2021? Trans Day of Remembrance, T2R, is a day that remembers those trans and gender diverse people who have been victims of homicide. Though the event began in the US, T2R now happens in many parts of the world. Vigils are usually held in person all around the world. But due to the pandemic and varying levels of lockdowns and restrictions, the community is expected to take to social media alongside physical events and join together in grief and remembrance.
Alright, so I am lost for words. I'm really lost for words. And the only thing I can do is look up the names and see if I can find those 375 trans women that have been killed. Oh my God, that's making me emotional. I need to, wow. Whew. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna try to find a list. I'm sorry. I just got really emotional. Wow. But yeah, I'm gonna try to find a list of those 375 trans people that have died and have been killed. Wow. Make sure y'all leave a comment. Make sure y'all like the video. Make sure y'all subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you're alerted to all the latest content that comes out. Oh my God. I don't know what just happened to me. I don't know. Wow. Anyway, I need to get off this video. So thank y'all for watching. And I'll see you in the next video. As always, I am Novana Beta. And this is I Am Trans News.